Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
Before California existed, this land had a name, a real name, given by real people, and they erased it completely.
They took the land,
and they took the name.
When you erase a name,
you erase a people. This is what they never taught you in school. California was never the original name.
They lied to you.
The Olón people named this land long before Spain arrived.
They lied to you.
A Spanish fantasy novel gave this state its name.
They lied to you.
The real name was buried under 300 years of colonial rule. Before any European set foot on this land, the territory now called California was home to over 100 distinct indigenous nations. The Olón, the Miwok, the Yoguts, the Chumash, the Tongva, and the Mojave people all lived across this land for over 10,000 years. Each nation had its own name for its own territory. The Olón called their coastal homeland Huchun, the Tongva people called their southern territory Tavanga, meaning the basin of the world. The Chumash referred to their region along the central coast as MESHIACHA and Sultan, names tied directly to the land, the water, and the life that existed there. These were not casual labels. These names were spiritual identities. They described the geography, the resources, and the sacred relationship between the people and the earth. There was no single name for the entire region because it was never one place. It was hundreds of nations, each sovereign, each name, each populated by millions of people across thousands of years of documented civilization.
They took the land,
then they took the name.
When you erase a name,
you erase a people. This is what they never taught you in school.
California was never the original name. They lied to you. The Olón people named this land long before Spain arrived. They lied to you. A Spanish fantasy novel gave this state its name. They lied to you. The real name was buried under 300 years of colonial rule.
In 1510, a Spanish writer named Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo published a fantasy novel called Las Surgas de Esplandian. In that fictional story, he described an imaginary island called California, ruled by a black queen named Calafia, rich in gold and populated by black women warriors. This island did not exist, it was complete fiction. When Spanish explorer Hernán Cortés sailed up the Baja Peninsula in 1535, he or members of his expedition applied that fictional name to the land. They named the real indigenous territory after a made-up island from a novel. In 1697, Spain formally claimed the region under this fictional name. In 1848, the United States seized California from Mexico through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Following the Mexican-American War in 1850, California became the 31st state under a name rooted in Spanish colonial fiction. By 1870, the indigenous population had collapsed from an estimated 300,000 people to fewer than 30,000 due to Spanish mission slavery, American-era genocide, forced labor, and mass killing campaigns funded by the California state government.
Huchun
MESHIACHA.
These were the
California came
from a novel, a fiction.
from a novel, a colonial fantasy. The people were real, the name they were given was not.
In 1851, the United States government
Signed 18 treaties,
with California indigenous nations.
promising them land reservations,
The Senate secretly buried all 18 treaties.
and never ratified a single one.
Those treaties were hidden and classified.
Senate files for 53 years.
The indigenous nations,
Who signed and received nothing.
their land was taken,
Their names were replaced,
and the documents that prove their rights
were locked away from the public.
until 1905.
This was not an accident. This was a policy of deliberate erasure. The land you call California has a history that is over 10,000 years old. The name California is 500 years old and came from a fiction novel. Do not let them
Find the land with their imagination.
look up the Vanguard,
Look up the Ohlone Nation.
look up the Ohlone Nation,
Look up the 18
unratified treaties,
of 18.
51.
The truth is documented.
They just never told you where to find it.
The first lyrics told you how the name was stolen. Now hear what happened to the people after the stealing was complete.
Whoa,
Erasing the name was only the beginning.
whoa.
What came after the renaming was far worse. This is the part of the story they never finished telling you.
They lied to you.
The missions were not built to help the indigenous people.
They lied to you.
The California Gold Rush was built on indigenous forced labor and mass murder. They lied to you. The first governor of California publicly called for the extermination of indigenous people. Between 1769 and 1833, Spain built 21 Catholic missions across California. History books present these missions as peaceful religious settlements. That is false. Indigenous people were forcibly relocated into these missions, stripped of their languages, their ceremonies, and their tribal identities. They were made to work without pay under physical punishment. Death rates inside the missions were catastrophic. Over 60,000 indigenous people died inside California missions from disease, violence, malnutrition, and abuse. When Mexico secularized the missions in 1833, the land was not returned to indigenous nations. It was distributed among wealthy Mexican ranchers. Instead,
In 1850,
Peter Hardman Burnett, the first American governor of California, stood before the state legislature and declared that a war of extermination would continue to be fought against indigenous people until the indigenous race became extinct. These were not private words. This was an official government address. The state of California then funded and reimbursed militias to carry out organized massacres of indigenous communities across the state. Between 1848 and 1870, the indigenous population of California dropped from approximately 100,000 to 30,000 scholars today formally classify this period as the California Genocide. They renamed the land, and they destroyed the people who gave it its real name. The missions, the gold rush, the state-funded militias. All of it is documented history. Look up the California Genocide. Look up Governor Burnett's 1850 address. Look up the mission. Des Records. 400 years of erasure does not change what this land was called or who called it first.
autor viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Alrighty. I think it's on. Okay, fam. So, I was thinking about going a couple hours. I may go a little longer. I don't know. Okay, just giving you guys a heads up. I did also record some things in the past, and I'd like for you guys to look at it again. We're at the moment where, truth fucking matters, and everything that was in secret is now being fully exposed. We now know exactly what, documentation from, proven facts from documentation that we can actually source and say, yeah, you're right. You're right. They did do this. So I want to introduce you to this old video I had done. I think it's very powerful because it's very informative, and it gives you a glimpse of the root of certain people. And these people never were honest with us. Were never honest with us. They hid behind history, knowing that it was a lie, and yet they still pushed it. They gave us a bunch of story bullshit, and now all of a sudden, now everything that has to do with, I guess, people's rights has everything to do with certain people. But you see, this is where I don't like. I don't like people lying. I don't fucking like it. If you had it good, and now you don't have it good, why the fuck are you lying about your past? Y'all didn't really go through slavery like you said you did. A lot of people were enslaved from 1492 up until today. It wasn't just Negros with so-called woolly hair and shit. It was a lot of different people. And a lot of the history does not say to our gente or indigenous brothers and sisters that they were enslaved as well by black and white people. You guys think I'm going to drop that shit? No, my job was to destroy. That's what I came here for. Destroy what? Bullshit. Because I don't like it. I can smell it a mile away. Chris from AZ, what up, brother? Good to have you, man. Chop it up with you a bit. Hope you're doing well, you and your family, man. I hope y'all doing well. I don't know how hot it is over there in Arizona, but it's fucking hot over here, bro. We got to 100 today. And yet again,
but I go outside, I'm trimming my grass, you know what I'm saying? Like it's bothersome, but it doesn't affect us, you know? Unlike Europeans, they're fucking dying here and dying over there in Europe. Anyways, let's start with the class, man. I'm thankful that I have brothers and sisters that actually do at least see things eye to eye with me. And not everything, I understand that. You know what I mean? Not everything, I get it. But the majority of it, right? And we shouldn't even assume that we should be 100% like eye to eye with shit. Oh, it's not hot over there? Oh, you lucky guy, dude. Shit, you're lucky. So, but I get it. You know, like we can't assume that we're going to see eye to eye to 100% of the things. But, you know, you can tell right away when somebody's not really well in the head. A lot of us, we try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and we give them too much benefit before you doubt them. Look, there's nothing wrong with you doubting motherfuckers, okay? As you're getting to know them. And see, I'm like that, bro. I hate to be honest with you guys in that sense, but it's like, I'm very doubtful about people as I'm talking to you, brothers. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm okay, cool, I'm cool, you know what I mean? But there's like, I don't know. You don't know people. You made shit. A lot of married people don't even know their husbands or wives, let alone some fucking stranger that calls you on the phone and shit and tries to get to know you because you have a life. I'm just being real about this stuff. So no more lies. This is why I focus on my channel about no more fucking lies. I don't like fucking lies, bro. You know, I rather know the truth than sit on a lie forever. This is one major lie that I am never going to fucking skip. I hope you guys appreciate this information. We may go 2 hours. We may go 11 hours. I don't know, bro. Sometimes I suffer from insomnia, so it just depends. Let's see. Question everything. Truth will always reveal itself. Yeah, I mean, how can I say it? I don't know about questioning everything. Why don't we look at it more like, hey, as information comes to you, why don't we analyze it? Don't question it. Analyze everything. You see what I mean? Analyze everything. That should be the word. Analyze everything. Don't just walk over it. Don't walk over it. And I'll be honest with you, fam. Like, I am like that. I'm very fucking analytical, dude. Especially, I mean, even me being in the field that I'm in. You know, like I told you guys before, I do insurance. But I get into like commercial insurance, like workers' compensation, stuff like that. So you kind of have to have an analytical mind in that sense, you know. But what I mean, in every sense of the word in this channel, no more lies, analyze everything. I think that's a better way to phrase it, because when you say question it, then people are like, oh, you don't believe me? No, I'm just trying to analyze what you're trying to say. That's it. I'm just trying to analyze what you're trying to say. That's it. You see what I mean? Let's begin. All right.
I know that the Boule is typically a closed social group that I would characterize maybe somewhat secretive. How did they react to you exposing?
At the turn of the century was founded as a secret organization. It actually
Turn of the century is at the end of 1800 into 1900.
In the late 70s and early 80s is no longer a secret organization. I should give a little bit of background about the group.
All right, brethren, my apologies, man. I'm going to be quiet, okay? Because you guys missed a lot of sound. All right, so let me go start right here. Or whoever is in power changes. So listen to this. Swarthy. Being of a dark hue or dark complexion, tawny, in warm climate, the complexion of men is universally swarthy or black. Then it says this: the Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarthy than the French, Germans, and English. Let me read that again. The Moors, Spaniards, and Italians are more swarthy than the French, Germans, and English. Meaning what? The Spaniards, Italians are black, like the Moors, and the French and Germans are basically brown, dark brown, right? But the other guys are black. So it begs to now we have to ask ourselves this question. Did they look like this in 1492? Okay. I got a video about this person here. Caught my attention, and it relates to my class. So Interesting. Listen, I'm gonna let this play. There is a word called boule. So let me actually explain it now, so then we can just skip all of that. Boule is an ancient Greece word. It means, well, it was representing over 500 citizens, which were part of the council, appointed to run daily affairs of the city. Okay, so these guys consider themselves high and mighty. Okay, remember this, man. Remember this. Okay, we went through slavery. We went through slavery, supposedly the same thing, the same suffering, and we progress about the same. About the same. That's what we're being told. Well, let's find out. All right, let's begin. It's gonna be 1, 2. 1, 2. I'm gonna skip a couple, and then I'll start basically, continuing to show my things. All right, here we go. Oh, almost forgot. My bad, man. My bad. Oh, almost forgot. All right, Bible Chronicles. Okay, disclaimer. Content copyright. Disclaimer. This content does not belong. Excuse me. Let me move that up. Oh, no. It's not what I want. Stupid computer. Hold on a second, guys. This is acting funny. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Anyways, this content does not belong to Bible Chronicles, nor does Bible Chronicles claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles does not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of to harvest any financial gain. However, due under Title 17 of United States copyright law, states material and use can only be done when it's for theological, scholastic, misspelled, and general educational purposes. And thus, Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law. Okay, here we go.
At this point, it should go without saying, Prince Hall, Freemasonry, and Sigma Pi Phi are not the same in connection or principle. Firstly, Boule members are almost always college educated, a prerequisite not required to be a member of Prince Hall. These educated Boule members are most likely graduates or postgraduates who are recognized as men who have outclassed their peers as professionals within a certain branch of expertise. College education is not a requirement for membership into Prince Hall or any other branches of Freemasonry for that matter, whose tenets are most essentially being male, having belief in a supreme being, as well as the ability to handle financial obligations of the society.
And that's what I mean, okay? So pay attention to that too. Excuse me, sorry. I had ice in my mouth. Pay attention to that. The statements that are being made. Okay. Remember, we're doing a comparable. We're gonna go back to 1492 all the way up until now. I'm not really gonna touch too much on up until now. I will mention a few things, but because I want to get through this class. So, anyways, here we go.
Although Boule members can be Prince Hall members and vice versa, they play different roles within the structure of Black society.
All right, so let me go ahead and fast forward this real quick so you guys have an idea of what they're saying so far. Here's a little more of who these people are. And again, I'm saying this and I'm sharing this because again, these guys are apparently representing the so-called black people. Okay, you'll see. You'll see. All right.
I know that the Boule is typically a closed social group that I would characterize maybe somewhat secretive. How do they react to you exposing them, discussing their being and their principles in your book?
Okay, Sigma Pi Phi Boule, which was founded at the turn of the century, was founded as a secret organization. It actually
Turn of the
opened up
century is at the end of
the
1800 into
Boule
1900.
Foundation in the late 70s and early 80s is no longer a secret organization. I should give a little bit of background about the group. It's a black men's fraternity that is. It's not a college fraternity. It's different from your fraternity and the other fraternities we were talking about. But it's a fraternity that is joined, that adult men join as once they are out in the real world as professionals or whatever they're doing. And it happens to have, I don't know, my guess is it's probably the largest percentage of black mayors, black politicians, and professionals. There are non-blacks, there are white members of the organization.
The first members of Sigma Pi Phi were mostly educated physicians who could pass as white, where the first members of Prince Hall were accelerated through the church, many of them whom had been slaves and uneducated. This process was the means by which a person born into slavery could reach social viability. The first so-called black politicians in America were almost all exclusively Prince Hall Freemasons, with a few exceptions. And similar to members of the Boule, many could also pass for white, but not all.
Just remember what he says. Many could pass for white, but not all. And pay attention to their faces. Look at this. Okay? All right. We're doing a comparable, man. We're doing a comparable. These men seem to be in position of prestige and that they're rubbing arms with the so-called white man. These guys, I don't think these guys are black. I think they look more like the Jewish people. That's what it seems like. And based on my, we'll see in some books, you guys compare it comparable, okay?
Common characteristic for the first illustrious so-called African Americans to rise into prominence was a melanin deficient parent, in most cases, a father. This outcome was mostly a result of Virginia colonial slave statute, Partus Sequitur Ventrum.
Partus Sequitur Ventrum. Let's look it up. Just the definition itself, and I'm going to go to Wikipedia, obviously, but there's not always the source to go to, but just in general, people that are typically looking for info, they're going to go here, all right? So listen, it means was a legal doctrine passed in colonial Virginia in 1662. Remember, we're keeping track of the years, okay? And other English crown colonies. So around this time, the English, meaning the English king at that time, was ruling and he was passing these laws, Partus Sequitur Ventrum. And if you just look at general info, that's all we knew, right? Well, let's see if that's true. I got something to show you guys. I'm gonna put it right next to each. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna put it right next to each other so we can see the comparable. Watch what he says. This is what caught my attention. Obviously this guy knows. Hold on. I don't know what. My bad. My apologies, guys. I don't know why I did that. Go back.
Born Partus Sequitur Ventrum.
Okay, so here we see a picture of people being sold. They don't look like they're being sold. They have, look, you can see the commonality between them. Look, he's even bending down to speak to her. There's no need for that when you got power. You don't have to bend down. You talk down to them.
But this woman is being sold, and she looks like who? Yeah, our hermanas, our mothers. Yep. And who's this guy right here? Don't miss. He's black, right? And he's selling her. I mean, that's what I see. I don't know what you guys see. These are all white men, supposedly. But then you look further in, and they're not bright white, you know? Look at her skin and look at their skin. That has to trigger you guys with the thought, man. Why is their skin almost the same as theirs? And then look at these women. Why is that erased? But these are shown. They're not showing these guys. Anyways, watch what he says.
That which is brought forth follows the womb, meaning the legal status of a child born of an enslaved Indian woman will always remain enslaved. This law gave planters and free white men in general carte blanche authority to impregnate captured women without having to so much as even claim responsibility for their mixed race children.
Just so you guys know that the courts actually made a decision not too long ago, last week, regarding the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment argument was that no illegal woman who has a kid in this land should, at least be given the opportunity for her son or daughter to be a U.S. citizen. It's the same thing. Partis intervention was if the woman was a slave, no matter who the father was, that child would be a slave. Do you understand that? So when Donald Trump and his fucking racist ass piece of shit motherfucking Cracker Barrels took the argument to court regarding the 14th Amendment, they were basically saying no illegal should have the right to then all of a sudden have babies here because they were illegal in the first place. Do you understand the similarity in the argument? If you're a slave woman and you have a slave and you have a baby, he'll be a slave. If you're an illegal so-called alien, because they love to call us that shit, and you have a baby in this land, he's not a U.S. citizen. He's an illegal alien like you. Do you understand? This is why you guys have to understand how this stuff happens over and over and over and over and over again. Hey, look, we have the hater. Dude, I love it, bro. Hey, listen, I appreciate, he says, England punk, y'all. Hey, you know what's so funny? This is what happens with motherfuckers and shit. He said England punk. So you're like, you're cheering for the white man, dude? Is that what it is? Hey, listen, bro. We don't even fucking care whether you have anything to say. I'm not going to block you today, bro. You keep posting as much as you want. Let the algorithm work itself. We understand now why exactly what's going on with you. So, we don't give a fuck, dude. Seriously. Keep posting, bro. Help the algorithm. Let's continue educating ourselves and not be punks like these motherfuckers.
Just as common, these children were sold on the mulatto maid market as house niggas for an added sticker price as compared to their darker skinned counterparts.
So just to let y'all know that term was first placed upon our people, okay? And that's confirmed. So it's an unfortunate term, you know what I'm saying? But it unfortunately belonged to us. Okay. So anyways, let's continue. It unfortunately belonged to us first.
In this aspect, Virginia colonial law was totally contradictory to English common law, which states that a child's status follows the father. Of course, this law extending from the earlier Virginia codes was designed this way to assure legalized rape of indigenous women without consequence and naturally the perpetuation of slavery through a duplicitous modification of English common law.
If you listen to him, what he's standing on the ground that it was the white man that did it, okay? We'll see. It was only the white man. And then there's these black children. They were not our people, but then he mentions that the only people that were being sold as slaves, in a sense, where you can actually rape them and then through the slave owners' children.
This is how stupid you are. This is how stupid you are, because you motherfucking Negroes owned slaves since 1492. There's documentation that you guys have owned slaves for a long time. Documentation that Negros like you fought with the Confederacy to keep owning slaves. What the fuck are you talking about? So whose birthright were they actually fighting for? Do you understand that there was more than black folks being enslaved? They called it indentured servitude, whatever that was. You see, you only fed the history. Let me remind you something, you fucking dumb African. Let me remind you something, okay? Do you know when the 13 colonies became more than 13 colonies? Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? When the 13 colonies stopped becoming 13 colonies. Do you know what year that was? And do you know who was around those 13 colonies? You had Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Kentucky, Utah, so-called Colorado. There were so many people there that didn't speak English. Florida was fully spoken Spanish. Did you know any of this? Because, like, look, it's funny. He comes and defends England, which it's just a game. It's just a game, African. It's just a game, bro. It's not a life and death situation. The 14th Commandment was originally designed to establish birthright citizenship for former black slaves only, not illegal anchor babies like y'all. Okay, so first of all, I'm not an anchor baby. And secondly, do you want me to bring out, because look, I have the book here. Like, I was actually reading it the other day, the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, so let's read the 14th Amendment. It's Bill of Rights, right? So let's go to the 14th Amendment. That's X and there we go, right here. Here goes the 14th Amendment. Let me read it, okay? So you guys can understand how stupid these people are, bro. It says, all persons born, hold on, it says, Amendment 14 of the Bill of Rights, proposed 1866, ratified 1868. Now, keep in mind, as what I said before, there was more than black folks being enslaved. There was gringos being enslaved, Irish being enslaved or indentured servitude. There was indigenous people being enslaved. Do you not see the picture right there about our sister being enslaved and sold? But see, only idiots like this guy, Africanus Amarcoranus, you know what I mean? Canaanite stupid ass, like they'll say some dumb shit. So let's go ahead and read what he stands by, because apparently he hates the white man, but he loves the laws of the white man. You reference them. Stupid ass. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any persons of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Nobody's here to talk about that stupid shit. But see, you want to know something that I appreciate people like you? It's the fact that you guys can hate on this channel, but you don't have the fucking balls to step up to this channel and debate me. So that's why I don't mind, messing around with people like you. Because you guys can say all this shit, but you will never hit the link and debate me. So, again, dude. Swarte Pete. Yeah, I know. Let's go, man. Let's continue with the class, because this is phenomenal, bro. Let's go.
It's not hers necessarily, if you believe in the Bible. Then they go into slavery. So they were enslaving their own children.
Children born of a white mother and black father were considered free.
Remember that. Children born of a white mother and a white father were considered free in this particular year of 1600. Remember? He's mentioning the topic of partes sequitur ventrum. Okay? Just remember that. So in this time, if you're black and you had a child with a white woman, that black child was not a slave. We were told the other way. This is coming from a so-called educated black man who is, I'm assuming he's part of this masonry. I'm assuming. I don't know, man. But, you know, again, this is his material. I don't claim it. YouTube, that's him. I don't profit from this, so please don't block me. But anyways, I appreciate the information, though. I really do. It helps us out to know who you guys are.
And we're counted among free people of color.
So then at that point, it says we're counted upon free people of color, meaning that this was happening often, right? In order for them free people of color to be freed, there would have to have been through a mother that was white, correct? That's my understanding.
White men were freely allowed to abandon or kill their children without recourse.
Again, that's an opinion because there's no facts to say that. But if you look at a nation historically, the spirit doesn't change. Which nation of people are actually doing that? You got to ask yourself. You know what I'm saying? We can't be naive, and we cannot be emotional, sensitive, or even so-called empathetic. I'm tired of that because all I ever see is our gente being stepped on. That's like that song from Kid Frost. It says, "Hey, I'm getting tired of these vatos getting low la raza." You know, that's deep in my spirit, man. Because as I've mentioned before, at least I know, since the so-called white man and the so-called black man have been in this continent, nothing has been the same for our people, especially our lovely, beautiful women, our mothers. And I mean that like in a mother sense. I don't mean that in a sexual sense, because I have respect for our sisters. That's a Hebrew thing, by the way, in case somebody don't understand that.
Solidifying their position as the first deadbeat dads in American history.
Who's actually manifesting that? I'm just asking, you know what I'm saying? Because we went through slavery, and it's not something that we typically practice as so-called Hispanics for the most part. I know we have a few deadbeat losers. I mean, you know, good portion, but for the most part, that's not who we are. Then or now.
To the point that many of the most notable so-called black men in history, like Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington, never even knew who their white fathers were. But in some cases, the white father actually did remain in their child's life, but used their whiteness to accelerate the social status of their mixed children.
So he says that in some cases, and then they would use their status to elevate their children. And we continue to see that. But why isn't he saying anything about them? They were black men having children with white women, and those children were free. Remember that, okay?
One such example of...
Let's skip this. I'm gonna go to let me see here, because I just want to get through this. Oh, here it goes right here.
I want you guys to understand that when I bring these topics up, lies, no more lies, it's not about you hating other people so much that, like, ridiculousness like this guy. Because he has hate. Like, look, both England and Mexico are Edomite country, but yet the English have a strong detestation towards y'all Edomites hate on other Edomites. Esau's done. Like, it's just stupid. It's like, we know the truth over it. We know the truth now, you know? Like, they can't come here and lie to you no more. Like, you motherfuckers brought smallpox to this continent. You motherfuckers helped the white man the whole time. You motherfuckers knew the Christian doctrine. Like, you're not Hebrews. You know what I mean? You weren't here originally. Like, you lied about everything that you guys had really regarding history. You created some 1619 bullshit story. You made up fucking Willie Lynch letter that never fucking happened. Willie never sent the letter, bro. Willie never mailed a letter. That shit was the most fucking diabolical invention that you Negros have ever fucking invented, bro.
Who are you?
Willie Lynch letter was a fucking lie. And you have the nerve to come here and try to tell us, like, oh, you guys, dude, see, like, this is what I'm teach my brothers and sisters. Like, they're losing their minds, fam. Don't even trip on this shit, dude. You have to laugh at it now. Ni siquiera te tiene que molestar un poquito, güey. ¿Sí me entiendes? Porque estamos viendo muy claro that these motherfuckers are losing their fucking soul. Even if they had it. What did they say? What did they say? The world was going to end in 2000, right? Remember, BHI, Black Hebrew Israelite, said that the world was going to end in 2000 and shit. Never happened. Then they said Jesus was supposed to be going to show up quick, and it never did. Then they said Jesus was black with an afro and shit, and then, that's not true. And now we know that the New Testament is such a fucking lie, fake-ass bullshit story. So now you have to wonder exactly what is it that they bring to the table? What can this individual who believes in Jesus, whether he's black or white, confuse us with anything else? No more. No more lies. That means that we will not no longer ignore shit. We're going to analyze everything. Give me a second. I think it's right here.
And Prince all Freemason made it in. And since all of us Negroes were the privileged children of white slave masters,
So they say, okay?
all of a sudden turned champion for black rights. The air of insincerity permeated this bunch. With all this being said, there were some who made it into politics without completely alienating themselves from the average person, seen as privileged or elite.
Look at
Who
that. Read
weren't
that.
seen as privileged or elite.
Mother Bethel AME Church, founded on ground purchased by Richard Allen in 1791. This congregation is the mother church of the African Methodist Episcopal denomination. The present structure, erected in 1889, replaced three earlier churches on this. Okay? You guys read that. It's telling you something.
I want to share this with you guys, brothers and sisters, man. You guys are watching. I appreciate you being here. I think this is an excellent topic. Sometimes you have to just look at things for what they are, and it shouldn't be too complicated or too offensive. Some people may get offended, but you know what I mean? Let them deal with their emotions, bro. It's all emotional shit when it comes to the end. When you bring facts, there should not be any emotion whatsoever. It says, your righteous branch, Jeremiah 23:1, woe be unto the pasture that destroys and scatters the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. What are we dealing with when it comes to the New Testament? What are we dealing with when it comes to you guys believe in BHI bullshit? Supposedly they went through the same shit that we did. They never went through the same shit that we did, fam. You understand what I'm saying? That's why the 12-tribe chart is such a bullshit fucking story, first of all, to start with. And then when you peel that back, then you realize the New Testament is fake as fuck. So then imagine the biggest lie in the world. They're making you guys marry your daughters to these motherfuckers, and you're marrying your sons to them. Bro, it's just like... I pray to the Most High that you guys do not encounter some fucking horrible vision of some shit I fucked up. 23:1, it says, woe be unto the pastures that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel against the pasture that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord. Verse 3, and I will gather the remnant of my flock of all the countries whither I have driven them, and I will bring them again to their fold, and they shall be fruitful and increase. Remember how in Deuteronomy 28, it talked about that we would be diminished because of certain diseases from the curses that motherfucking Negros never actually got, but yet they brought over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys don't fit these things, bro. Straight up. You know what I mean? It says here that we will increase again. Why? Because we diminished. We diminished from what? Deuteronomy 28:27. The Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch whereof thou cannot be healed. How bad does that shit get? Verse 26, and thy carcasses shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. We've read history about our people dying so fucking much that they were just like leaving them there to die on the ground. That's something to really, think about there for a moment, young man. You want to come here and try to show us hate with your little bullshit. Oh, England, Mexico, whatever. Dude, none of that matters no more, bro. We're actually admiring the fact that your mind is so destroyed and you don't even see it. Maria Gasca says, Reyes, how you doing, sis? Good to have you here. They fooled all of South America, too, by portraying Africans as innocent victims. Africa still had slaves and still sells slaves to this day. Damn, I didn't know that. Fuck, bro. Again, do not let and at the same time, that scripture that talks about pastors leading you, astray, but that also has to depend on you to not be led astray. You know what I mean? So don't make an excuse over yourself.
For most so-called Negroes, an elite education or even a college education was out of the question, unless you could pass for white. And this complexional complication coupled with education represented the foundational differences between a Prince Hall Mason and a Boule during the early 20th century. The Prince Hall faction, along with their Baptist and Methodist leadership within the church, recruited more of the common man into their ranks.
This is a very old picture. Okay, look at how they dressed. That has to be in the 1600s, 1700s.
Few and far between men who ascended into politics were more the exception than the rule. During these times, barbering was a trade that provided opportunities for Black men to facilitate respectable positions within their communities, in some cases developing clienteles with wealthy men, which led to other work for family and friends.
Let's skip this real quick. Let me get to this point. Uh, 18. There's some stuff I'd like to show you, but nah, I'm kind of want to get through this. Listen, guys. Remember, we're doing a comparable, okay? We're doing a comparable to see if our struggles have been very similar, because they say that we're tied to the hip because the 12 tribe chart said so. Okay, let's find out. Pay attention to these pictures. They're trying to tell us something. Until I hear a riding on his saxophone. Or could you call on Lady Day? Could you call on John Coltrane? Now, 'cause they'll watch your troubles away. Remember this picture. Look at the fur. That's buffalo fur. These guys are they were buffalo soldiers between 1870 and 1876. And that's around the time where the Buffalo Massacre happened. Those are facts. I'm not saying anything. I'm just comparing the timeline.
Hold on, fam. Let me read this real quick, man. Let me read this real quick. You guys have to understand, too, sometimes that as you're watching videos and you're studying your scriptures, you have to reference the things that you're reading as the stuff that you're watching. So as I'm watching, I'm thinking of scriptures, too, Here's what came up as I saw this video right here. And I said, look, bro, that applies to Isaiah 45:3. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which called thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. So you give dark treasures and shit, secret things, like information that honestly none of us really did know. Like, we didn't know this, bro. And and honestly, to be quite frank, we would have fell for some stupid ass like this guy right here in the past, because we didn't know. But now that we know, it doesn't work the same way, does it?
That's called debutante, okay? In case for some of y'all that don't know, that's what it is. And that's something that the French did. And these are the French. And I've showed you guys pictures of this. And whether you guys believe me or not, it's up to you. The French were black, were black, because now that you see a lot of white folks, but a lot of them are actually black. And a lot of you black folks are actually white. This is the funny part. Because the mixing didn't just happen with black on white in regards to men and women. It happened both ways. Look, you see this? This is a picture of men and women, right? But don't you think, what, you think he's going to be like not interested? Come on, man. See this? Look at how they dress. This is not in the 1900s, guys. This is like in the 1600s, okay?
Y'all had it good, bro. You guys had it fucking good. You're a bunch of fucking liars, bro. And you know damn well that this type of dressing, or what I mean is fashion, as you can see what these women are wearing. You see that the pompous type of dress that she has on, like with the butt like kind of like rounds out and shit. That's not from any time near. You've been lying to our gente. You've been lying to your own people. And the white folks have been accepting this shit because they're not willing to embrace the fact that, yeah, they at one time were kicking the white man's ass. But see, in this channel, we know this shit. Like, we don't run from this fucking fact because we know that it's Edom, Canaan, Amalek, the main ones. Ishmael is around here as well. He's over there dealing with this bullshit over there in his land. We get it. But let's be mindful of what we're looking at right now. Let's not forget this. Let's not ignore this. This should matter to you. Think about the history that we were told when we went to school. Look, I'm 50 years old. Imagine this shit. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. They told us a bunch of fucking lies, fam. And then you get older and you start hearing other people's opinions about certain things, and you're like, okay. And they emphasize that fucking opinion. It's like, oh, this should matter because our rights and shit and all this and slavery and all that. And you kind of feel bad for them. And then you start realizing, like, wait a minute, hold on a second, bro. Now that I'm getting into history, I'm finding out that slavery happened to us too, and you guys never cared about it. There was no movie about it. There was nothing about it. Like, nothing mentioned about it. Matter of fact, just to give you guys a hint, I'm working on a book.
Pilgrims. This is how the pilgrims dressed. And look at you guys. You're in the back. Look, having a conversation. Look, you even have fancy glasses. That's your French guy. He's not white. He's black. Okay? Boy, those guys back there, those guys aren't black people. They look kind of white. That's what debutante. And basically, it's just like elitists or people that introduce themselves like, okay, this is so and so, he's so and so and so and so. It's kind of like what they do in the IOIC camps. That, you know what? That's actually, I didn't think of that. You guys do the exact same thing, debutante concept, and that's not in the Bible. Where does the Bible say that you're supposed to do that? Present themselves as like steak and meat.
Understand what I just said? Okay, so I used to be part of IUIC for like 3.5, 4 years, some shit like that, I don't call it a waste of time. The Most High has everything planned. So anyways, in their groups, when they want to introduce like 18-year-old women, right, as soon as your daughter turns 18, they want to put her in a group, by the way, of single women, right? As soon as she turns 18, bro, if 14 was legal, they probably would have done it too. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird and shit. Anyhow, on certain events, certain like high holy days, right, they'll do like a presentation, so to speak, of like the young women. They go in there and they just kind of walk like, the stage. So other people so dudes could be like, oh, maybe I'll ask my captain if I can inquire about that chick. Like, for real, bro. For real.
That is technically debutante concept. And then you tell the so-called Hispanics not to burst a piñata on just because they want to celebrate it, because it's a heathen custom. And you guys are doing the heathen custom too, if you're not them.
As mentioned earlier, the forced migration of slaves in the Upper South is a tale untold.
Now, this is what they say, okay? But if you look at timeline, it begs to differ. He says that
Slavery and
I'm
forced
trying to like
migration.
fast forward it. So he says these people were pushed forward in slavery and this and that, right? Why are these guys painted white anyways? I'm just curious. Remember they said First Maccabees 3:48, the heathen changed the image. Why are you guys taking off this color? Why not leave it? I don't listen. I don't know how old this picture is, to be quite frank. I just find it awkward. Okay. So, anyways, this guy's saying that this was slavery and forced migration in the antebellum South antebellum. Here, let me do this just so you guys can find out. Antebellum period. So antebellum basically means, like it says, before the war. Okay. Refers to the years of the war, development, blah, 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 blah. There was a lot of this going on, supposedly with blacks, right, being enslaved. But I don't know, man. They look like they're really trying. I mean, I'm just saying, you know. I see our people busting our butts in the field, bro. Anyways, I'm not here to like make comments about that. I wasn't really necessarily trying to show you guys this picture, but antebellum period is, it's just like a history of the South period before the war, supposedly. Okay. In reality, look, I'm just going to tell you what it is. You guys can find out on your own. Antebellum is just when the so-called blacks and the so-called black man, the so-called white black woman had it good way prior to antebellum. Okay. But again, you guys could consider that my opinion. So let's continue. He's showing this stuff here.
Importers.
He's saying that they were pushed down. But here's what I want to show you.
207 to more than 500.
So they were all pushed from the north to the south, okay? They called them domestic slave trade. Between 1808 and 1865, remember that year, those years, 1808 and 1865, all of a sudden now they're being pushed down, okay? Remember that.
1800 to all.
So I think at this point, I think this is all what we need to see. Because, yeah, I think this is all we need to see. Perfect. Okay, good. All right, let's move on from this. Let me take this off here. All right. I'm going to change the video now because we're going to watch a different one. And give me a second. Let me at least set it up.
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second here. Give me a second, guys. All right. Person, and I want to do this. This is, nah, you know what? Nah, I'll show it later. Okay, so anyways, here's what they're saying. Okay. So we heard all of that. And then now we're hearing that the so-called Judah ruled Europe, okay? Black Africans who ruled Europe between 711 AD, 1789 AD. And that's true. Historically, I know that the African Phoenicians have been trying to conquer that area for quite some time. They finally did it in around 700 AD, okay? All right, so now let's pay attention that these guys are 480 circa Germany. Remember they said that the Germans and the French are swarthy, and the Spanish and Italians are more swarthy, meaning more black. Well, this guy's black. This guy, literally 1740 circa, 1520 circa. Look at this guy, right? 1599. So it means it was painted around that time. 1524, 1589, 1500.
Look, check this out. This guy. This is why I was curious about that law. Remember that law that talked about partus? What is it called? Partus sequetum. Partus sequetum ventrum. It was in 1662. Colonial, right? British owned these lands, and they passed that law. Well, look at this. This guy is an actual king of England. He was a prince of England, son of King James. He was a king of England, English, Scottish, and Irish. So his father, who was alive at that time in the 1600s, was the one that had to pass that law. These guys are not kings because they're applied to, excuse me, because they applied for a job. It's passed down from parents. So since you guys are saying that this black man passed that law, I mean, that's what I'm finding. It says, upon the death of the father, 1701, he was recognized as king. Succeeded the son Charles. All right, so obviously lineage passes through. All right, so he passed that law in 1662 to rape our sisters. Based on what I'm finding, that law that didn't bother to pass the law against black people. No, the law that said if you have a child with that native woman, right, that what they call nigger, okay, then that child could be a slave, whether that child would be from a black father or a white father. Those are facts. You guys are saying you rule Russia. You guys are saying you rule Europe. I'm only showing what you guys showed us. You know what I mean? I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. That's more of a newer picture, I think, which is actually a nice picture, to be quite frank with you, man. I like the color scheme. Anyways, and listen, guys, I make comments like that because I appreciate history, man. I can sit back and actually look at it. I know exactly what happened to our people, but I have undeniable faith in the Most High that he will, like Wisdom of Solomon 18, vengeance upon the enemy. So no sweat. As long as we keep teaching our brothers and sisters who we are according to the Bible, man, that's what's being commanded of us. All right, we just got to stick to the script, guys. Remember, man, just stick to the script, dude. Focus on the end. The end is what matters. All right, not now. We'll get our chance. Anyways, so that's who that guy is. And then I find this interesting. This is from, matter of fact, here, I'll just put it here because it keeps popping on this window. This is from a book called Africa's Gift to America. Okay. And watch what these guys say. I'm not saying it. They're saying it. This is written in 1880. What page is that? 58. Africa's Gift to America. All right, page 58. Let me go to that now. It's an interesting book. It's a really interesting book, to be quite frank with you. A lot of history, and then a lot of it is actually I say this in connection with what I have. This right here, well, that's not my topic, so I don't care. But if you can see, I mean, these are slaves, basically. They're selling slave women, white women. They were selling white women. That's what they were doing. But that's not my topic. It's part of it. Look at First American Slave, page 59, I believe, okay? 58, my bad. Strong documentary proof that the first Africans in America were not slaves, and that chattel slavery of them did not start until about 1659 or 1682. Remember the Partum Sequetu Ventrum, the black king who passed that law in 1662? Well, that's why. Okay, so after that law is when so-called black people were being enslaved. Well, it was black people who were enslaving their children, and white people who were, I guess, enslaving their children too, because they were just using our sister's funnel for your pleasures. Russell, in this chapter, Origin of the Free Negro Class, calls a brief that the first Negroes were slaves. A popular error maintained and supported by a large number of writers. The evidence clearly points to the customary indentured for Virginia. Archive shows that throughout the indentured, it's very true. Watch this. Throughout the
Oh, that's right. That's right. They did it to me last time. Give me a second. What's this for you? That throughout the second quarter, hold on. Throughout the second quarter of the 17th century, Negroes were being released at the end of their period of indenture. Look up the book Virginia, the Old Dominion. Okay, I have it, but I haven't looked through it, so I didn't want to bother it. Let's say the common belief that all Negroes brought to Virginia in the early period were slaves is an error. Virginia's first century. It says judicial cases concerning American slavery and the Negro. They're talking about one particular person that I guess she was a slave, Lady Yardy. They didn't want to pay a slave, and they were forced to pay the slave. In 1661 occurs the first reference of the state in Virginia to Negroes and the inequality of slaves. You guys can find all this stuff out, okay? Watch this real quick. I wasn't able to download it on my page for whatever reason. It was giving me a hard time, but I have it on my Facebook account, and I'm gonna show you guys what I have. Okay, let's see. I think this is it. No, that's not it. Oh, I think it is. My bad. This is from a book called This is from a book called "Let the Blood That the Blood Stay Pure." Page 67. The year 1619 has been earmarked as the earliest date of arrival for Negroes to the English colony. Yet they accompanied Spanish North American expeditions almost as a century before the English arrived in Virginia. That means that in 1492 there were black folks coming with the so-called white people too, right, to destroy our people and take our lands. There's also evidence that they cohabited with the Aborigines in the early 17th century. So here's exactly where the hijacking begins. So let me just share something with you, so-called Aboriginals, okay? What this guy's actually saying is that you African people came here first when they came here, okay? Both of y'all, basically. It took both of you guys to take us down, okay? And then after that happened, a lot of you Africans stayed here. And you were mixing with our sisters, which then became the concept of Aborigines. Exactly that, all right? So, but anyways, you're not going to believe me, so it doesn't matter. Let me continue. In 1603, 7 Negroes escaped St. Augustine, with some maintaining their freedom and marrying Indian women. Franciscans found Negroes. Now, these Franciscans, what? They weren't white, because watch what he says. Franciscans found Negroes, meaning the Africans, and Indians, our sisters, or maybe some of our men, cohabitating together in Florida, and repeatedly admonished the Aborigines that it was an unclean thing to keep Negro mistresses, meaning what? That the Africans shouldn't be mixing with the natives because it was unclean. They looked at us like pigs, like swine. That's exactly what the statement is. I don't know what other interpretation you want me to give you. This is from a book that they, meaning the other camps, actually no, the one camp, which is IOIC, loves to bring this book out, man. And you know, I find it so interesting because they love to bring this book out, but they don't show you guys everything of this book. Watch. They only read this part. This is from the a treatise on physical geography. They love to hide it. This is the funny part. They like to hide books, but you know what, guys? Whether you show it or not, the price goes up or down. And you want to know why I know this? Because I buy books. I collect books. I buy them. Okay, I buy them. And I've been lucky and fortunate to buy some books at like $100 that they're cost like $1,000 now. All right. So don't tell me that, oh, all of a sudden you shared it. And no, nobody ever shared the book I got, and that thing's costing expensive. So don't believe the hype, man. All they want to do is make it seem like, oh, they're so secretive. Watch this. The Jews are people who ever, according to, they read this and like, look, they're black, brother. They're black, brother. But yeah, the page before, watch what the page before says. The rapidity with which the color changes is seen in the English colonies of North America. It is not 250 years since the very first colonists arrived in Britain, and much shorter time since the ancestors of most of the present New Englanders across the ocean. And yet they have lost the clear complexion of their kindred beyond the waters and acquired much of the hue of the southern French and northern Spaniards. Remember this. Remember that? The more Spaniards, Italians are more swarthy than the French. Show you guys this. So they say, right? And like the other material that we found, that the slave trade or none of that was really happening. Because look, in 1630, almost 80,000 people left England. And who was ruling England? A black man. Left England, Chesapeake, and New England, and the Caribbeans, most of them indentured servants. This is from, again, White Cargo. You guys can get the book. 1,200 newcomers. Those guys died because they couldn't handle it. Our people killed them, and also there's a story behind it. These guys they didn't know how to field or anything, and apparently they were just too lazy and expected our people to feed them. Our people said, "Hell no!" They left them to be. These guys ended up eating each other. They weren't white, and if they were, they weren't only white. Let's see. Chapter 7 is what he's talking about. But look at this. Watch this. There were several people. New plantations, indentured servitude, British colonialism. Watch this. Were people, both men and women, who had been forcibly transported, which is because they wanted to get rid of their dirty, criminals, and free willers who had voluntarily mortgaged their freedom, right? Basically, 200 men, women, and children from the British Isles would have been transplanted to British America. The vast majority of these British colonies would be indentured servants. Black people, indentured servants. Okay? Unless you want to say they're white people, but then that goes against your doctrine, One West, so you're going to have to swallow this pill. The second episode occurred within a year. Large group of indentured servants from, well, you can see it. And then these guys are Puritans. Oh, man. The Puritans were the ones that gave our native brothers and sisters the turkey. So was it white people then? Yeah, the rabbit hole gets deeper. 1634, total number of servant ships from Britain, 790 males. Total was this. English convicts arrived in 1642. You see that? Worked on the new sugar crops. So basically, a lot of these convicts were also convicted, right? Like here, if you commit a crime, they go and they send you to some jails where you're actually doing this. So some of these black people were convicts and they were serving their time. So if you see those guys being treated like crap, well, they're convicts. Don't they do that now here? Let's see what else. Okay, I think you guys get the point. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. I don't want to close this and make a mistake. So now, let me show you guys this real quick. I thought I had the book, but let me see. Let me see the. I think this is it. So in this book, watch what it's called. Free Negro owners of slaves in 1830. Okay. So it's showing you guys that black people did have slaves, and it was recorded even up to 1830. From 1650 to 1850 is when there was a lot of slavery going on. And as you know, that from what we see, the partus equitum was more applicable towards our sisters. And the black people were mostly indentured servants because their family members were the ones helping them out. There's something called right start, I think, head right, something like that. You have let's say you have you want to purchase land, and I have a family member, and I'm here, and you're over there in Europe.
I would then say he wants to come here as an indentured servant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that bill as a consideration. That's a word that they use in Black's law. I'm going to use that bill as a consideration to purchase this land. He is like, in a sense, his down payment, because that indentured servant is going to work that land or help him work that land, right? And he gets an acre. So for every indentured servant, you get like an acreage. It's a head right program, something like that. Anyways, you see this here? All these names are not white people. And by the way, these last names that so-called white people said, so-called black people said that they were through slavery, that's a lie. They already had these last names. And this is facts. Look, all these guys, the slaves, they're not black. And if they are, it's their children. I know, that's the sad part. A lot of them are our people, but a lot of them are their children. You know what I'm saying? Because if they trap our people, they enslave them. If they trap our women, they enslave them and force upon them. And through them, they basically have children. And they look at our children or their children as litter. Now, you so-called, well, you Indian people, you black folks, you're Phoenician blacks that think that you're natives and all that crap. And like, oh, yeah, look at me. I got feathers. Well, listen, dummies. No Latino and no native will ever turn their back on their child, even if it was from another nation. That is something that I know for a fact we don't do. Any Hispanic or Latino will attest to that. I have a daughter. She's 19. It would hurt me so much to even think that I would do that. Don't you think that would be a test in my faith? Of course it would. But that's not something that we do. Okay? That's a fact. So if these sisters get raped by you and they take this child, black child, with them, they teach them their ways. And you look black. Know your history. Why does a Hispanic have to tell you guys? I thought you guys make fun of Northern Kingdom all the time. Hey, Northern Kingdom, you guys better Judah's getting tired of helping you guys out. Okay, well, listen, I'm not getting tired of it, by the way. I'll never get tired. I'm just going to show you all the truth. Negroes, meaning black people, right, own slaves too. Blacks own slaves too. Blacks and whites own slaves too. Not just white people. Look, y'all own slaves all over. So what I wonder is, why does this guy say this?
It's that the blacks who were colonized and enslaved are indeed the 12 tribes of Israel, according to the biblical text. There's the 12 tribes enslaved are and enslaved are indeed blacks who were colonized, blacks who were colonized, blacks who were colonized and enslaved are indeed the 12 tribes of Israel, according to the biblical text. There's no biblical text that can prove the Jews in the Bible were Caucasians or are Caucasian.
And no, at least where we stand, we don't believe that either.
There's no biblical text that says or proves Jesus Christ is a Caucasian or white man. All the biblical texts prove that Christ is black, Moses was black, the Apostle Paul was black, and the 12 tribes of Israel are black, and the 12 tribes of Israel are black. And the 12 tribes of Israel are black. And the 12 tribes of Israel are black.
So he says that the people that were enslaved were the 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay. All right. Let's dabble into that. Let's find out if that's true. From my understanding, most of, if not all, you Negros or Africans, because I can't call you Africans. You don't like that, right? So then I'm going to call you Negros. Anyways, all of you or most of you have woolly or curly hair, however you want to say it, right? Right? That's my understanding. First Samuel, chapter 19, verse 13. Well, first of all, this is regarding David, okay? Let's find out exactly what David's hair was like. So apparently, if you read this chapter, you will understand that he's trying to hide from somebody, okay? I'm not gonna give you the plot. You need to read it. But hear what it says. Just so you know, and Michal took an image and laid it in the bed and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster and covered it with a cloth. Basically, like saying, he's trying to mimic the way that David, looks like and sleeps. So in his bed, he puts goat's hair. He didn't put nappy hair. He didn't put curly hair. He didn't put wavy fucking hair. He put goat's hair. Verse 14, and when Saul sent the messenger to take David, she said, he is sick. And Saul sent the messenger again to see David, saying, bring him up to me in a bed, that I may slay him. And when the messenger when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. How does nappy fucking hair turn into goat's hair, bro? Or how does curly hair turn into goat's hair? Or how does goat's hair turn into nappy hair? I mean, I hate to be so blunt about it, but I think that we need to just like really say shit like that at this point. What the fuck are we talking about, bro? And then you guys want to go and say something about, Songs of Solomon. Look, Solomon was black. Like, bro, yeah. The way that you guys are actually breaking that shit down makes it seem as if he's a schizo. Songs of Solomon 4:1 talks about, behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead. This is a woman talking about Solomon. He also had straight hair like the natives. Let me remind you what native brothers... Let me see this. See if I could simple. Nah. Oh yeah, pretty simple, dude. Look, that's... I mean, I know I don't want to fucking really go there and do that, but this is it right here. Straight hair, bro. Goat's hair. That's not woolly hair. That's not nappy hair. That's not curly hair. That's not frizzy hair. That's not that kind of hair. That is literally like straight up goat hair. Songs of Solomon 4:1. Behold, thou art fair, my beloved. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see, make sure that you guys are watching this. Hold on, because I tend to. Hold on. Oh, I moved it over here, huh? My bad. Benson, my brothers. Songs of Solomon 4:1 says, behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from the Mount Gilead, meaning they run down like a river. That means it's straight hair. So what the fuck are you talking about, Nate the Snake Roberts? What are you talking about?
So he says that the people that were enslaved were the 12 tribes of Israel, and they says that they're black. Okay, that's what he says. All right, we're gonna look at this real quick. This is from let's see if I have it here. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to find history. There it goes, right here. This is a book called Golden Age. Okay, by Ivan Sertima. Ivan Sertima is a so-called African. Okay. Listen to what he said himself.
I gotta read that. I gotta read that one. I cannot let it slip. Songs of Solomon 6:5. Turn away thine eyes from me, for they have overcome me. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from the Gilead. We don't, it's not an African, bro. Or hold on, are you gonna say that you guys had straight hair here too? That's crazy.
It says here, for all Negroes are black Moors, page 331, I believe. For all Negroes are black Moors, for all the Negroes or black Moors are descendants of Cush, the son of Ham, who was the son of Noah. But whatever difference there is between the Negroes and the Tani Moors it is a fact that they are all of the same ancestry. This Leo Africanus is a black man. Okay, so there's two things I want to mention. First of all, he was actually born in Grenada. Okay, so he was there when he makes this comment. And the whole thing about some African white man name in Africa, that's a lie. He was an Afriki. So I can't even remember his name. But this guy, Leo Africanus, he would let a white man name him when you guys are in power? Come on, man. Come on. Then it says here, again, but Dr. Chancellor Williams hits the nail on the head once and for all when he's asked the question. Now, again, just who are the Moors? Who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berber Arabs and coloreds in the Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called Blackamoor. Eventually, black was dropped from the Blackamoor, meaning Moor, in North Africa and Morocco in particular. All Muslim Arabs, mixed breeds, and Berbers have readily regarded as Moors. The African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for their recognition as Moors. You see that? Now, this guy, Leo Africanus, okay? So you're going to tell me, Nate, you're going to tell me that you know more than him? This guy was born there, okay? This is from his book called The Geographical History of Africa. So I don't hide stuff. There was no need for it because you know what? You can either get it in archive, or you can either buy it or you just can't buy it. It's that simple. If it's meant for you to have, it's meant for you to have. It says here, for all the Negroes are black Moors. Okay, hold on. Let me go back a little bit. All which opinions and reports are to be understood only of the original of the Tani people, that is to say, of the Nubians and barbarians. For all the Negroes or black Moors take the descent from Cush, the son of Cam or Ham, who was the son of Noah. But whatsoever difference between the Negroes and the Tani Moors, certain it is that they had all one beginning. For the Negroes are descendants of the Philistines, and the Philistines of the Mesraims, and the son of Cush. But the Tani Moors fetched their pedigree from Sabians, and evident that Saba was begotten of Ramah, which was the eldest son of Cush. Listen to this. Diverse other opinions there be as touching this matter. Okay, watch what he means by that. Meaning that there's a list of things he stands behind on, which because they seem not so necessary, right? So we saw it, and we realized that they're not valid. We have purposely omitted. So because it's not valid, we don't agree with it. So we took it off. This man was born in that time. Let me see if I can get the page. Look. Written in Arabic and Italian by Ion Leo Moore, born in Granada, brought up in Barbie. This man was there, okay? And this crest is a crest that does not mean what you guys think it means. 1600. So you know more than this guy? Watch this here real quick. It says here, Judaic scholar Paul Wexler, however, maintains that the majority of Sephardic Jews of North Africa, Berber origin, converted to Judaism. And I read that, I believe. My bad. Let's see. Okay, now another thing. I'm gonna show you guys this too. They're saying that we suffer together and we're the same people. Look, I'm gonna brush through this real quick. This guy here, Louis Wetzel, you guys got to get this book, right? It's called The Great West, containing narratives of the most important, interesting events. So this guy, Louis Wetzel, Among the earliest times, he was, let's see, Louis Wetzel perhaps was the most indefatigable, can't read that, indefatigable Indian hunter of the frontier. His complexion was dark and swarthy, as in Indians, and his face pitted with smallpox, so he looked like us. His hair, of which he was very careful, reached and combed out to the calves of his legs. See, that's why you guys put those damn feathers on and act like you're our people, because you were already mixing way before. And these guys here, the so-called blacks, Africans, they were killing our people. Look at his sons. At the Wetzel grew up Ben Frontier Boys. Here, watch out. You guys can't see that. They grew large enough to handle rifle, considered themselves such, and took a solemn oath never to make peace with the Indians. Y'all could read that yourselves. Watch. Yeah, well, you guys can see it. This is from another guy. This demon, man. Wow, God, you mad, man. You guys. They're right here. James Beckwourth also married Indian women, sometimes in dazzling rapid succession. Flame-tempered and loved to battle. They called him Crow and Blackfoot, okay? The greatest Indian fighter of his generation. He was not an Indian. He was a black trapper. He was a black trapper, or a trapper as a black man. Black slave with Native American heritage. And his wife. This is funny. Beckwourth was born in 1788 to a black slave with Native American lineage and her white master. So we see this. The only way this would happen is if a black person had children with that Native woman, had then this Beckwourth, and he was a what? Servant to this woman, this master, right? That's what it seems like. Or else, how else would he know about Native? So this sister of ours didn't want to put her back against him. Of course, I mean, turn her back on him. Especially at that time, they were going through destruction. She didn't understand. The Bible wasn't with us. Oh, by the way, we haven't had the Bible since 1492 at this point, too. Then it says here, look at this demon. Indian wives, it says here, on trails he fought or made friends with Native American Blackfeet, Sacs, Snakes, and Crows. His Indian wives inevitably were loyalty. Wives. Chief, sounds like one West, multiple wives. Once again, he said Beckwourth did some good. You guys can read this book. I guess he's like, look, when he had asked this woman to dance, and he refused on the wedding night. So then he clobbers her with an axe. Then he turns and tells the father they must maintain discipline. And then so they give her a new wife, and then that other one he whips on, comes back, and then I guess he has sex with both of them and he leaves. You guys might think it's funny, you so-called black men. They might be laughing, man, but you're gonna pay for all this. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good, man. Enjoy your time now. You can see this, man, and this guy's he's just a plain traitor. Because what ends up happening here is this guy Shevington, right, tells him, "Hey, come with me. I need to destroy these Indians." He doesn't want to go at first. He threatened him, so he saddles up. Then when you see this, he saw people shot dead as they held up their hands. Read the page. It explains it himself. So what do our people do? They feed his ass, excuse my language, and then poison him. That's what he deserves. And you guys probably don't know what that means, but that's basically you can even see it in the with the narcos, man. You don't do that. You're a traitor. I mean, come on, bro. Seriously. And this guy's glorified. Look, in the Mississippi, glorified for killing our people. And then remember about the Buffalo Soldiers?
Hey, listen, fam, don't tune out, man. The next section of this video is gonna fucking blow your mind, okay?
What a coincidence. Between 1870 and 1876, they were here. And then the slaughter of the buffalo is around that time. Yeah, they show pictures of this white kid. Look at that.
The Buffalo Massacre. And remember this here? They're very proud of it, man. Proud legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers. Why they call them Buffalo Soldiers? There's no need to call somebody a Buffalo Soldier. Why? Wouldn't you be calling them a Indian soldier or Indian fighter? Buffalo Soldiers regiment were commanded by whites, and African American troops often faced extremely residual. Yeah, right. Whatever.
Freaking OG bringing you that hidden truth, because LeBron James and Jesse Jackson will not give it to you like this. You see, Mr. Spook Lee will never make movies about this, and I wonder why. So I'm here learning about the Buffalo Soldiers, Geronimo, and the Wounded Knee Massacre. And I must say, the more I learn about these Black Americans and their history, the more I understand why things are happening the way they are now in the USA. Just look at the type of things these people were doing to the Native Americans, all the while crying about, the Black Wall Street Massacre, the Rosewood Massacre, boo-hoo-hoo, But look at the nonsense they were doing to the Native Americans. They will not tell you that these Black Americans massacred over 200 innocent men, women, and children for absolutely no reason. And they are here proud afterwards. To make matters even worse, these Black Americans have the nerve to claim to be the Native Americans in year 2023. What these Black Americans did to the natives is equivalent to going up to a person that you see choking, and then you sneak up behind them and you proceed to strangle them. You see, that is pure evil right there. And there's no way you can get out of this. You cannot play the blame the white man card on this at all. You see? All I know is I will say this and I will end this vid, because if I keep talking, these Black Americans they're going to report, because they cannot handle the funk. But I know that if it was us Ethiopians that these Black Americans did this to, and then have the nerve to try to claim your identity, a lot of these Black Americans, they live in homes.
Let me see, man. Maybe it's time to bring some scriptures. Yeah, let me read something. By the way, I have this Bible called Scriptures. The Institute for Scripture Search is who's publishing it, and I want to read it this time or today. So if you guys don't mind, I'm not going to be really showing them. I'll only show the ones that are in the Apocrypha on the computer. Okay, so follow me, guys. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43. Okay, and it reads, "The sojourner who is among you rises higher and higher above you, but you come down lower and lower." Okay, verse 44. "He lends to you, but you do not lend to him. He is the head, you are the tail." You hear that? He is the head, you are the tail. Let me read you guys something in Malachi, which I found rather interesting. Give me a second, because this Bible is kind of upside down in a sense, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, because it's just put together different. So it says again, "He is the head and you are the tail." Malachi 2:3, and it reads, "Therefore thus say Yahweh, see against this clan I am planning evil, from which you do not remove your necks nor walk proudly, for this is a time of evil." Okay, this is the time of evil. All right, remember that, guys. So now let's go to Hosea chapter 9 and verse 13 and 14, and it reads, "I have seen Ephraim like Tyre, planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring out his children to the killer.
Listen, verse 14. Give them, O Yahweh, give what? Give them a miscarrying womb and dry breasts. Verse 15. All their evil is in Gilgal, for there I have hated them because of the evil of their deeds. I drive them from my house. No more do I love them, for other rulers are rebels. Ephraim has been stricken. Their root has dried up. They yield no fruit. Even if they bear children, I shall put to death the precious ones of their womb. Okay? So this happened to obviously our children and as well as their children. All right. Let me show you guys this real quick. Real quick, verse 16. And an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee in the pit. He will weep his eyes. Yeah, brother, we're the 12 tribes, we're Hispanics here in America. But if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Okay, verse 17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there, and though he'll pretend to help thee, shall he undermine thee. Here's the point. He shall make his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. Which one is it?
That the blacks who were colonized and enslaved are indeed the 12 tribes of Israel, according to the biblical text. There's no biblical text that can prove the Jews in the Bible were Caucasians or are Caucasians. There's no biblical text that says or proves Jesus Christ is a Caucasian or white man. All the biblical texts prove that Christ is black, Moses was black, the Apostle Paul was black, and the 12 tribes of Israel are black. The Apostle Paul was black.
He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance.
And the 12 tribes of Israel are black.
I don't know what to tell you, brothers. You know what I mean? Let me get through this, man. I got a class to show you. Let's move on from this. Let's move on from this here. This is from the storm that swept Mexico. Again, copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to me, YouTube. Okay, please don't block me. I'm not making any money off of this.
In 1876,
My apologies.
In 1876, reeling from nearly a century of conflict, Mexico elects Porfirio Diaz president.
So now let's compare what we've been through. Okay?
For more than 30 years, he will rule Mexico with an iron fist in what will become known as the Porfiriato. To some, he is the benevolent father, the peacemaker, but to others, the traitor, the man who gave Mexico away to the foreigners.
The Porfiriato is in some ways the beginning of that peculiar relationship between Mexico and the United States. The Porfiristas believed, given the economic thinking of that time, that the way to move ahead was to open the gates to foreign investment. Mexico was right next to the United States, so Mexico was largely an economic colony of the United States by 1900.
The center of power during the Porfiriato is Mexico City. Here, Diaz surrounds himself by a group of technocrats known as the Científicos. This circle of power controls much of the nation's wealth, with little regard for anyone outside their circle.
The científicos were the people who implemented his economic policies. These were the people who wrote the legislation for the passage of laws. These were the people who put together the contracts between the Mexican government and foreign companies and so on. They were elitist. Some of them were racist. That is, they believed in the notion that the biggest problem that Mexico faced was its backward Indian population.
Backward Indian population. Here, I just thought up a scripture. My bad. It wasn't part of it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse, I believe it's 36. Watch this. Yahweh, it says, Yahweh brings you and the sovereign whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, wood and stone. I read this because as we see these científicos didn't give a damn about our people. So were they our people? The Spirit bear witness. Let me move forward to right here.
Bueno, fundamentalmente durante el porfiriato, la expresión artística siempre estuvo viendo, o sea, con los ojos hacia Europa. Esto nos hace ver que siempre México, no obstante de ser un país que se ha independizado, que está buscando su identidad, sigue con los ojos puestos siempre en Europa.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. It reads, Yahweh shall strike you with madness and blindness and bewilderment of the heart or mind. Madness. The madness of you guys. You want to be like the other nations, the other heathens that enslaved our people, right? Blind to the fact that you don't know who you are because you're listening to this garbage of the past and even now. And it says here, and you shall be groping at noon as a blind man gropeth in darkness. It's daylight, guys, and you have no clue who you are, according to the Bible, and not prosper in your ways. Have we prospered since 1492? And you shall be only oppressed, plundered all days with no one to save you. You know damn well that's been happening to us since 1492 and even till this day. Our children are separated at the border. You don't think I have the same fear? Oh, yeah, I got family members that go through the same thing. Same damn thing. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. An ox knoweth his owner, and a donkey his master's crib. Israel does not know, my people have not understood. Why? Because you're looking upon the eyes of Europe. Really? The same people that enslaved us?
Modernidad de las urbes. Por otra parte, tenemos a todo este pueblo.
Listen, I didn't bring any rivals up for those guys because honestly, I was just showing who they are. But you guys are our people, our gente. I know what struggle we've been through. So you damn right I'm going to bring scriptures out because that Bible belongs to us. 500 years since we haven't had it. And they were introduced to white man as God. Now all of a sudden, in the last 20 years, supposedly we are Hebrews. And another nation tells us, and they bring another image, but this one's black.
Este pueblo indígena, este pueblo campesino que está marginado, que no se le atiende, en donde se va a encontrar el descontento.
Porfirio Diaz was a strong ruler, and he held Mexico.
Look at that picture right there, right? They're all drinking and having a blast at the expenses of our people. Isaiah 56, verse 9. Again, I don't know if they are our people or not, but I'm going to read it anyways, because if they are, man, may the Lord have mercy on you. Verse 9, Isaiah 56, verse 9. All you beasts of the field come to devour, and you beasts in the forest. Verse 10, it reads, his watchmen are blind. All of them have not known, just like Deuteronomy 28. All of them are dumb dogs, unable to bark, dreaming, lying down, loving to slumber. Are these guys not slumbering? Right? And the dogs have a strong appetite. They never have enough. They are shepherds. They have not known understanding. And they are shepherds, meaning these guys are supposed to be our leaders. And look what they're doing. They have not known understanding. We haven't had the Bible in 500. I mean, even in this time, the Bible was prohibited. All of them look to their own ways, everyone for his own gain. for their own end, saying, Come, let me bring wine and fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as today, even much greater. Is he not looking upon the much greater land? You see this field? And now they're expanding that way, drinking, saying, let's go ahead and expand the land. The pleasures of what? A prophet, right?
Let's go together with the help of the military of Hacendados and with American backing.
An American backing. Who was in power at this time? Yeah, I think I've been proving it. So let's continue. It wasn't just a white man, guys.
The unrest was there because of the nature of that economy and the society of that time. Rural Mexico was poor. The hacienda system was a tragedy for Mexico.
It was. It was a heavy tragedy for our people. It was the worst thing that could have happened, because they made it seem as if it was very attractive and, just the way to go. And quite frankly, it was not. Okay. Let me start it here.
The haciendas were large estates. Some originated from Spanish land grants, while others were made up of lands the owners had bought or stolen. They were nearly totally self-sufficient enterprises that up until the revolution functioned in a semi-feudal system. The haciendas generated much of the wealth of the country, but most of it stayed in the hands of a few. The owner, called an hacendado, had nearly total power over the peones, the people who worked the land. The southern state of Morelos was home to some of the richest haciendas in all of Mexico. Many of them were sugar plantations, long known for horrendous conditions. After centuries of abuse, Morelos was ripe for a rebellion.
Un día en Cocoyoc, ahí en esa calle donde vivo, cuando encuentra un español, niño, ¿qué hace? Como así con ese parar orgulloso, ¿qué hace, niño? El niño se agacha, usted lo ve, señor.
Do you guys hear that? Pues usted lo ve, señor. How long did our people say that? No more shall our people say that. Do you understand that? Think about how powerful that is right there when you hear how oppressive that fucking demand of an answer is.
Niño, ¿qué hace? Como así con ese parar orgulloso, ¿qué hace, niño? El niño se agacha, usted lo ve, señor.
So our native brother, he just puts his head down and is like, well, you see what I'm doing, sir. If that doesn't bother you, bro, then you just don't belong in this continent, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? You just don't see it. You just don't even understand it.
Porque ya sabía que la opresión era grande. Por eso, los que nos lanzamos a la revolución en defensa de la patria, no fue una valentía, un orgullo, una necesidad.
Oppression makes a wise man mad.
Que querían que trabajáramos a punta de cierdonazos por 25 centavos, de la amaneciendo hasta el sol. Andaban los alcapataces en las calles.
Zacapataces, they call them foremans, right? But it's not technically foremans. Exodus 1, verse 11. So they set slave masters over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh supply cities, pythons, and Ramses. Let me read King James. Exodus 1:11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Python and Ramses. That's what zapatas means. This guy right here.
Andaban los alcapataces en las
Alcapataces, the taskmasters.
calles, que no hubiera ninguno en su casa sentado ni acostado, menos, y Lo bien, vamos para afuera. Ni permiso pedían los capataces. A punta de chiconazo, vamos a cargarse la caña, a cortar caña. Por 25 centavitos. Centavitos, no pesos, como ahora. ¿Y quién iba a aguantar eso? Dígame quién va a aguantar eso.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 7. I have to read it, guys. For oppression makes a wise one mad, and a bribe destroys the heart. 25 centavos was nothing, guys. If you guys lived in over there, they terminated that. But there was a time where I remember where we had, pesos and then centavos, the lowest of the lowest. Not even 1 peso a day. He needed 100 centavos to make 1 peso. That's like negative. It literally, if you look at mathematics, it's literally like -1 or -100, man. It's just so sad, bro.
Luego resultó esa la revolución.
And that's exactly what happened. Let me go back to the Bible, man. You guys need to start reading, guys. We have all the answers in our book, not some Phoenician, our book. And we're taking it back. Thus saith the Lord. Psalms 38, verse 11, and it reads, my loved ones and my friends stand back from my plague, and my neighbors stand far away. And those seeking my life lay a snare, and those seeking my evil have spoken of destruction and utter deceit all day long. Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? Remember, guys, keep in mind, this guy ruled from 1876 to 1811, okay? Now, I find this very ironic. Remember the whole 1808 to 1865 movement from the so-called Phoenicians? Or not so-called, the Phoenicians, right? That they were in slavery. You guys realize in 1869 was when it was actually, they started drilling oil in Mexico for petroleum. And it was this guy that did it. Right? But check this out. Between 1521 and 1821, ranchers were telling these people, hey, man, we're running into tar and our animals are dying. Okay? In 1846, they were already looking to mine in Russia. This guy here, he opens up a lot of them all over the continent of Mexico, right? But I find it so funny. This colonial period of when reports ranchers having cattle lost. And then in 1821, right, between 1521 and 1821, then all of a sudden in 1823, James Monroe articulated the Monroe Doctrine, which was a very shady way of saying, hey, this law will protect us all, so foreign invaders don't come in. But then that law also stipulated in the small print, if you owe them money and you bring issues to our continent, then we would have to overrule you. That's exactly what it actually did. Because in 1850 is when it was actually officially coined, I guess, in a sense, right? And then if you look at the Mexican secession, it was in when? In 1848. The war started in 1846 through 1848. You know, there were white and black people fighting us. So as you can see, the expansion has a purpose. The Mexican War began in what? Oh, and by the way, we had independence. It became independent in like 1821. And then 2 years later, the Monroe Doctrine. And they had already been told that there was tar pits. I mean, look, man, if you look at this, okay, look what we've been through. And it hasn't stopped. All right, when the Spaniards came, and they were black and white. Oh, what a coincidence! They put a black guy there. See, man, I swear. Independence, right? 1835, 1836, 1839, 1848, 1860, 1867, the French War, 1820, 1829. This was actually the period where we were starting to tell the so-called white people right here. See, it's funny because in 1917, They implement these fumigation like gas baths, right, to our people. But at the same time, there was already a president, I cannot remember his name. He was already trying to implement law which would stop the white man from taking massive gains of the petroleum, which they were not investing in Mexico. I wonder why. So they take it out on the people, right? Is that what y'all did? And guess who's in power at that time? Who's in power? Who has politicians? The black man and the white man. French colonization. You see this here? You Creoles, so-called Creoles, right? You people that are very proud of your Creolish, y'all are French. Means you're Phoenicians. So you can look as white as you want or look like we are people, but a lot of you guys are not our people. You're Phoenicians. This goes out to you, Chris. You know who I'm talking about. You're so proud of your what do you call it? Creole blood, right? Yeah, man. You're taking that person down with you. She may be our people. Andrew Jackson, removal of the Indians, 1830. And you guys were expanding. Black people are expanding from the East Coast all of a sudden. Oh, supposedly they're being enslaved. Really? What a coincidence. Why don't you keep them up north? First meeting. We saw that already. If you look at all the stuff that we've been through, right? And the secession and all of these things, like literally, I don't see the similarity. I really don't. If you look at gas baths from 1917 to 1964, the fumigation, all of those things were practiced up until 1963, 1964. Matter of fact, the Nazis even praised America, the so-called white man and the black man, because it was you guys that both did this work, for what you did. And you know, about 90% of our people, right, in between 1900, like early 1900, 10 or 15% maybe, were literate. And 90 to 85% couldn't read or write. And we didn't have the Bible. And just us out. Only on 1950, we actually started seeing a lot of increase in literacy. About 40% of the people were actually being able to read at that time now. Yeah. Okay. A lot of these things were going on. Well, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. You that are studying the scriptures and really take it to their heart that this is our book. Deuteronomy. You know where I'm going. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Where are you at? Verse 33. A people whom you have not known, eat the fruit of your land and all your labors, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed all the days. See that? Yahweh will bring you and the sovereign whom you set over you to a nation which neither you and your fathers have known. We didn't know these guys. Do we know them? Verse 38. You take much seed out of the field, but gather little in, for the locusts consume it. You plant vineyards and shall labor, but you neither drink of the wine nor gather, for the worms eats it.
American investments in Mexico were enormous in the early part of the 20th century. Some authorities say they were greater in value than all of the investments in property owned by Mexicans in Mexico.
While this close relationship with the U.S. benefits the científicos, Diaz is keenly aware that it places Mexico in a precarious and potentially dangerous position.
So as you can see, you have people that didn't give a damn about our well-being. Ezekiel 25:25. Thus say the Master Yahweh, because the Philistines have acted in vengeance and took extreme vengeance and scorns in their being, to destroy with lasting enmity. Okay. Therefore, thus said Yahweh, see, I am stretching out my hand against the Philistines, and I shall cut off the Cherethites and destroy the remnant of the seacoast, and execute great vengeance on them with raging reproof. And they shall know that I am Yahweh when I lay my vengeance upon them. I read this chapter because it's going to be applying to the so-called black man and black woman of Phoenician, and the so-called white man. Okay? Where are you at? Where with me? Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of your heart have deceived thee, you who dwell in the cliffs of the rock, whose dwelling is high, who say in your heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Thou you rise as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, you mean them, from there I shall bring you down, declares Yahweh. Because it was technically the so-called black man and black woman that was really over here initially. The white man needed their power.
Ocurre un fenómeno. Se descubre América. Los primeros esclavos que van al Nuevo Mundo son blancos. Sí, señor, blancos. Y los primeros negros que van al Nuevo Mundo son esos que tenían ya 50 años o más de presencia renovada y que eran negros ladinos y preparados militarmente para la conquista. En la capitulación de Toledo, que firma Francisco Pizarro en Toledo con la reina Juana, en el 29º, otro sí, pide 50 esclavos, entre los cuales debe haber un tercio de hembras, y se aprobó. Esos eran negros ladinos. Y estos negros ladinos ayudaron a la conquista y recibieron los mismos honores o los mismos castigos cuando los indios vencieron que los españoles. Pero los primeros esclavos fueron blancos, porque la esclavitud no reconocía color hasta esa época. Y la prueba está que en el siglo XIII, cuando Alfonso X el Sabio redacta las 7 partidas, en una de ellas, tomando quizá algo del Código Justiniano, dice que no es de natura esclavizar a otro hombre. Entonces la esclavitud casi estaba abolida. Revive con el presidente de América y sin noción de lo que iba a hacer esto se mandan blancos. Ahora, no vamos a decir que los blancos llegaron encadenados. Se mandaba a los blancos por castigos, se sacaban de las cárceles, porque estaban en la inopia y iban en una forma de contratos temporales que ellos mismos pudieran manumitirse. Y 1000 formas diferentes para esclavitud.
Oye, que estamos aquí. Mírame, estamos aquí. Desde hace rato, cuando ustedes llegaron, ya estaban las huellas de nuestros zapatos. Se robaron hasta la comida de gato y todavía se están lamiendo el plato. Bien encabronados con estos ingratos. Hoy le doy duro a los tambores hasta que me acusen de maltrato. Si no entiendes el dato, pues te lo tiro en cumbia, bossa nova, tango o vallenato. A lo calaboy y bambú, bien frontú, con sangre caliente como Timbuktu. Estamos dentro del menú. Tupac se llama Tupac por Tupac Amaru del Perú. América no es solo USA, papá. Esto es desde Tierra del Fuego hasta Canadá. Hay que ser bien bruto, bien hueco. Es como decir que África es solo Marruecos. Estos canallas se les olvidó que el calendario que usan se lo inventaron los mayas con la Valdivia precolombina. Desde hace tiempo, este continente camina, pero ni con toda la marina pueden sacar de la vitrina la peste campesina. Esto va para el capataz de la empresa. El machete no es solo para cortar caña, también es para cortar cabeza.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerde. Si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
Los paramilitares, las guerrillas, los hijos del conflicto, las pandillas, las listas negras, los falsos positivos, los periodistas asesinados, los desaparecidos, los narcogobiernos, todos los que robaron, los que se manifiestan y los que se olvidaron, las persecuciones, los golpes de estado, el país en quiebra, los exiliados, el peso devaluado, el tráfico de droga, los carteles, las invasiones, los emigrantes sin papeles, 5 presidentes en 11 días, disparo a quemarropa por parte de la policía, más de 100 años de tortura, la nova trova cantando en plena dictadura, somos la sangre que sopla la presión atmosférica, Gambino mi hermano, esto sí es América.
Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes, si quieres mi machete te muerde. Aquí estamos, siempre estamos, no nos fuimos, no nos vamos. Aquí estamos pa' que te recuerdes, si quieres mi machete te muerde. 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 Te muerde, te muerde.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.